Om Shanti. 22nd August 2020. Baapdada Murli. In the essence, Baba says, sweet children, the Father only loves you children. It is to reform you children alone that the Father gives you Srimad. Constantly follow God's directions and make yourself pure. Question: when and with which methods will peace be established in the world? Answer: you know that only after the Mahabharat war will there be peace in the world. However, you have to prepare yourself for that in advance. Make effort to make your stage karmatit. Churn the knowledge of the beginning, the middle and the end of the world and become completely pure by having remembrance of the Father. Only then will this world be transformed. Song: human beings of today are in darkness. Om Shanti. This song is sung on the path of devotion. They sing that they are in darkness and ask to be given the third eye of knowledge. They ask for knowledge from the ocean of knowledge. Otherwise, there is ignorance. It is said, in the Iron Age, everyone is a Kumbhkaran, sleeping in the sleep of ignorance. The Father says, knowledge is very simple. They study so many Vedas and scripture, etc. on the path of devotion. They do Hatha Yoga and adopt gurus, etc. All of those gurus now have to be renounced because they can never teach Raja Yoga. Only the Father gives you the kingdom. Human beings cannot give it to human beings. However, it is of this that the sannyasis say that happiness is like the droppings of a crow, which is why they run away from their homes and families. No one but the Father, the ocean of knowledge, can give this knowledge. Only God can teach this Raja Yoga. Human beings cannot purify human beings. Only the one Father is the purifier. Human beings have become so trapped on the path of devotion. They have been doing devotion for birth after birth. They go to the bath in water. It isn't that they only go to bath in the Ganges. Wherever they see a lake, they consider that to be the purifier. There is a Gomukh here too, where water comes from a spring. There is water in a well too, but that cannot be called the purifier Ganges. Human beings think that too is the pilgrimage place. Many people go to bath there with a lot of faith. You children have now received knowledge. Even when you tell them, they don't believe you. They have a lot of arrogance of the body and say, we have studied so many scriptures. The Father says, forget everything you have studied. How can human beings know anything about any of these things? This is why Baba says, write down such points in the leaflets and drop them from an aeroplane. Nowadays, they all ask, how can there be peace in the world? When someone gives advice for this, he receives a prize, but he cannot establish peace. Where is peace? They continue to give prizes falsely. You now understand that there will be peace in the world after the war. This war can take place at any time because such preparations have been made. The delay is until you children reach your karmatit stage. It is this that requires effort. The Father says, constantly remember me alone, and while living at home with your families, become as pure as a lotus and continue to churn the knowledge of the beginning, the middle and the end of the world. You can also write, according to the drama plan, peace in the world will be established as it was in the previous cycle. You can even explain that only in the golden age can there be peace in the world. Here, there is definitely peacelessness. However, there are some who won't believe what you tell them because they are not going to go to heaven. They won't even follow Srimad. There are many here who are unable to remain pure according to Srimad. You are receiving directions from God, the highest on high. When someone's behavior isn't good, others tell him, May God give you great wisdom. You now have to follow God's directions. The father says, you have been floundering in the ocean of poison for 63 births. The father only speaks to the children. The father only reforms his own children. How could he reform the whole world by himself? He says the people outside learn everything from the children. The father cannot speak to the people outside. The father has great love for his own children. He doesn't have as much love for stepchildren. A physical father gives wealth to his worthy children. Not all his children would be the same. The father too says, I give this inheritance to those who belong to me. Those who don't belong to me will not be able to digest it. They will not be able to follow Srimad. They are devotees. Baba has seen many such people. When well-known sannyasis come, they bring many followers. They collect funds. Each one gives funds according to his capacity. Here, the father doesn't tell you to collect funds. No. Here, whatever seed you sow, you receive the fruit of that for 21 births. When people make a donation, they believe that they are doing it in the name of God. They either surrender that to God or to Krishna. Why do they mention the name of Krishna? Because they consider him to be the God of the Gita. They never say that they are surrendering everything to Radhe. They either say that they are surrendering it to God or to Krishna. They know that it is God who will give the fruit of that. When a child is born into a wealthy family, it is said that that child must have given a lot of donations in his previous birth, for that is why he has taken birth there. He can even become a king. However, that happiness is as temporary as the droppings of a crow. Sannyasis inspire kings to have renunciation by telling them that a woman is like a snake. However, Draupadi called out to be protected from the Shashan. Even now, innocent mothers call out for their honor to be protected. Baba, he beats me a great deal. They are even ready to kill for the sake of poison. Baba, liberate me from this bondage. The father says the bondage is to come to an end, and then no one shall be stripped for 21 births. There is no vice there. This is the final birth in the land of death. This is the vicious world. The second thing that the father explained is human beings have become so senseless at this time. When someone dies, people say that he has gone to heaven. But where is heaven? This is hell. If he became a resident of heaven, he must definitely have been a resident of hell. However, when you tell someone directly that he is a resident of hell, he becomes angry and gets upset. Write to such people, so and so became a resident of heaven, which must mean that you are a resident of hell. You can now show you the method with which you can truly go to heaven. This old world is now to be destroyed. Have it printed in the papers that there will be peace in the world after the war, exactly as there are 5,000 years ago. There was only the one original eternal deity religion there. Those people say that devils such as Kans, Jarasandh, etc. also existed there, and that Ravan existed in the Silver Age. Who would beat their heads with such people? There is the difference of day and night between knowledge and devotion. This is such a simple thing, and yet it hardly sits in anyone's intellect. So, create such a slogan. According to the drama, there will be peace in the world after this war. Every cycle peace comes to the world, and then by the end of the Iron Age there is peacelessness. Only in the Golden Age is there peace. You can even write that it is only because of the mistake made in the Gita that Bharat has now reached this condition. The mistake was that they inserted the name of Sri Krishna, who takes the full 84 births. They didn't insert the name of Sri Narayan. He has a few days less than the full 84 births. Krishna takes the full 84 births. Shiv Baba comes to make the children become like diamonds. Therefore, there has to be a golden container into which the Father can come. How can this one become golden? This is why Baba instantly gave visions to him. He said, "You are to become a master of the world. Now constantly remember me alone and become pure." So, he immediately began to become pure. Unless one becomes pure, one cannot imbibe knowledge. A golden vessel is required to hold the milk of a lioness. This is the knowledge of the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul. One needs a golden vessel to imbibe this knowledge. Only when you become pure can dharana take place. When someone makes a promise to maintain purity and then falls, the pilgrimage of yoga ends. Even knowledge ends. That one cannot then say to anyone. God says, lust is the greatest enemy. The arrow he shoots would not strike the target. Such ones become like cockerels who can only crow this knowledge. They do not practice what they preach. No vice should remain. Keep your daily chart. Just as the Father is the Almighty Authority, so Maya is also an Almighty Authority. Ravan's kingdom continues for half the cycle. No one but the Father can enable you to conquer Ravan. According to the drama, there has to be Ravan's kingdom. This drama is based on the victory and defeat of Bharat. The Father only explained this to you children. The principal thing is for you to become pure. The Father says, I come to purify the impure. People have portrayed a battle between the Pandavas and the Kauravas and have also shown them gambling, etc. How could such things exist there? Could that be the study of Raj Yoga? Would there be Gita Pashala on a battlefield? On the one hand, there is Shiv Baba, who is beyond birth and death, and on the other hand, there is Krishna, who takes the full 84 births. The Father comes and enters him in his final birth. This is so clear. While living at home with your family, you have to become pure. Sannyasis say that a couple living together cannot remain pure. Tell the sannyasis that it is because they don't have any attainments that they are unable to stay together. However, here we receive the sovereignty of the world. The Father says, preserve the honor of the clan for my sake. Shiv Baba says, preserve the honor of this one's beard. Remain pure in this final birth and you will become the masters of heaven. Each of you has to make effort for yourself. No one else can go to heaven. Your kingdom is being established. There are all types of people there, but there are no advisors there. Kings there don't need any advice. Impure kings have to have advisors. Here there are so many ministers. They continue to fight among themselves. The Father liberates you from all complications. There will then be no war for 3,000 years. None of the jails will remain. There won't be any courts, etc. There is happiness, only happiness. You have to make effort for that. Death is just ahead of you. Become conquerors of sinful acts by having the pilgrimage of remembrance. You are the messengers who have to give everyone the Father's message of Man Mana Bhava. Acha. To the sweetest, beloved, long lost, now found children, love, remembrance and good morning from the Mother, the Father, Baapdada. The spiritual father says namaste to the spiritual children. The spiritual children in return to the spiritual father says good morning, namaste, namaste, namaste. Essence for dharana. Point number 1. In order to imbibe knowledge, become pure and clean the vessel of your intellect. Don't become a cockerel jnani who can only crow knowledge. Someone who doesn't practice what he preaches. Point number 2. Surrender everything you have directly to the Father. Follow Srimad and claim a royal status for 21 births. Blessing. May you constantly be victorious and free from obstacles and make the fortress strong by adopting the method of cleanliness. May you constantly be victorious and free from obstacles and make the fortress strong by adopting the method of cleanliness. In order for every soul to become victorious and free from obstacle in this fortress, have programs for yoga simultaneously everywhere at particular times. No one will then be able to cut this string, because the more you continue to increase doing service, the more Maya will try to make you belong to her. Therefore, just as they have cleanliness whenever they begin a task, in the same way, all of you elevated souls should have the one pure thought of being victorious. With this method of cleanliness, the fortress will become strong. The slogan: the instant and practical fruit of doing yukti-yukt and accurate service is happiness. The instant and practical fruit of doing yukti-yukt and accurate service is happiness. Invaluable versions of Mateshwari. Do not now have a competition in performing sinful acts. Do not now have a competition in performing sinful acts. First of all, you definitely have to keep the aim that no matter how you have to control your vices, for only then will you be able to stay in godly happiness and peace. Our main effort is for us to remain peaceful ourselves and to bring peace to others. And we definitely need the power of tolerance for this. Everything depends on us. Let it not be that when someone says something you become peaceless. No, the first virtue of knowledge is to imbibe tolerance. Look on the path of ignorance. It is said, no matter how much someone insults you, just think, I wasn't hurt by that. The person who insulted you became peaceless himself, but his karmic account are his own. But if I too become peaceless and say something, then that would be my sinful act. Therefore, I must not have any competition of committing sin. We have to burn away our sins, not create more. We have been committing such sins for birth after birth and have been taking sorrow. We have now received the knowledge to conquer these 5 vices. There is a huge expansion of the vices and they come in a very subtle way. Sometimes there is jealousy and so you think, this won this, so why should I not do the same? This is a big mistake. You have to make yourself free from making mistakes. If someone says something, then consider that to be a test for you to see to what extent you have power of tolerance. If someone says, I have tolerated a lot, but become forceful, even once you has ultimately failed. Whoever said something is spoiled his own account, but I have to create my account, not to spoil it, and so let me make good effort and create a good reward for myself for birth after birth. Those who are under the influence of vices have those devil spirits in them, and such is that language that emerges from devil spirits. However, the language that emerges from those who are divine souls is divine. So I have to make myself divine, not devilish. Acha. Om Shanti. Thank you, Baba. Thank you.